behind on your payments, Gloriosa. I own the land now.
That explains so much.
I think Legend of Everfree has to be one of the most frustrating movies I've watched. That's not because the movie as a whole is bad or anything.
Surprise!
It does excel in various aspects, but I mean that it is frustrating in the sense that it severely suffers story-wise. The thing is, this movie is a very interesting case, because it dares to do many things. It tells the mystery of Gaia Everfree as we follow Sunset and partly Spike, uncovering whether this cryptid exists or not. It also heavily focuses on our new Twilight protagonist as she dwells with her inner conflicts regarding the events of the friendship games. And I guess we also have a camp facing bankruptcy. Spa resorts, truly the worst of evils. In any case, I have to give props to this movie for coming up with so many new and interesting ideas. However, it's because of these many new ideas that I have to condemn it as well.
You're under arrest.
And that is because all of this put together ultimately makes it aimless. Let me explain. As you may have already guessed by the cold opening, there's simply too much going on in this movie. Midnight Sparkle, the magical rocks, the whole mystery surrounding Gaia Everfree, the looming threat of Spa Resort. Usually having this much isn't a problem. In fact, it's nice to know the movie has substance behind it. There is, however, too much of it, to the point it becomes suffocating to the story. Having this many ideas is straight up overkill for a movie of this small caliber. Mind you, it's only 70 minutes long. This leaves the story no choice but to jump between plot lines just to meet the deadline without being able to develop naturally. Consequently, this leads to ideas either being rushed or half-baked. Don't get me wrong, it's not impossible to make all of it work.
Nothing is impossible!
But it does come with its fair share of handicaps. If you dare to have this much in your story,
I dare you! I double dare you, motherfucker!
you run the risk of taking too much time to establish all the moving pieces at the beginning, since there are so many of them, making the first act a snoozer to watch. On the flip side, you can find yourself rushing through the second half of the story, racing to make up for the lost time, like coming up with a plan to save the camp and executing it all during a montage.
I can't take this shit no more, man!
Another risk that arises is having to cut corners in order to meet the deadline. This often exposes the meddling of the writer to the audience and breaks the immersion.
That motherfucker's cheating!
However, the most dangerous trap to fall into has to be the risk of getting lost. Being overwhelmed by everything and not knowing where to go is the ultimate red flag.
Oh no!
Because you can end up repeating the same story beats without further developing anything, like the case of Midnight Sparkle, where she keeps popping up every now and then,
Popping, guys!
only being a passenger until Twilight uses magic, instead of an active threat growing more powerful. As another example, you have cases such as Sunset and Flash. There's not much to discuss here. This is essentially promising you're gonna deliver something only to then back away.
Don't mind if I do.
Bye!
So why bother introducing this idea in the first place if you're not gonna commit to it? What's the point of it all? A joke? Here, I got a joke for you. It's a waste of time at the end of the day, regardless of how good the intentions were. Poor guy, give him a break. Finally, I believe the biggest sign of getting lost is the point of your story. Your theme. What do you have to say that is meaningful and worth remembering? What is your message to the world? The importance of letting others in? Learning to embrace the changes life might throw at us? What do you have to say about friendship that hasn't been said before? Is it still a message, or did it become a list? The harsh truth is that wanting to say so much all at once only makes your voice inaudible, to the point you might as well say nothing. Because how do you expect people to follow your story if you can't even follow it yourself? These are common symptoms of a really messy structure. Consequences of a story being overstuffed by its content and thus not allowed to breathe. This is how a story can become aimless.